Welcome to another episode. I'm excited in this episode because we're talking about lessons on living, loving, and leading from an executive coach. And I have the honor of having a conversation with Shenemi, a mentee of mine. Shenemi, so good to have you.
So good to be
How
here.
you doing
Thank you
today?
for having me. I'm great.
Yeah?
How are you doing?
I'm excited. I mean, this is, with the podcast, you do different episodes. Sometimes I teach, sometimes I'm speaking to somebody. And we're reversing roles, right?
Yes.
So there are thoughts I can share, but somebody speaking to me and bringing them out of me will be interesting. And I thought it would be good to speak with you because we have really interesting conversations offset.
Yes.
You're real, you're authentic. So I'm looking forward to it.
Me too. And I'm really just here for all the tea.
For
all the tea.
Indeed.
So I'm here for me.
Indeed. So over to you. You're in charge today.
Good. I'm the captain now.
Yeah, the captain completely.
Okay, so I'm going to start off with some dad jokes. I hope you're ready.
Let's go.
I find them hilarious. Okay, so how many tickles does it take to make an octopus laugh?
How many tickles does it take to make an octopus laugh?
No, I'll tell you.
I'm blank.
10 tickles.
10 tickles.
Just cracks me up. Okay, you're going to love this one. What do you call a belt made of watches?
A belt made of watches. A belt made of...
I'll put you out of your misery.
Tell me.
A waste of time. Oh my gosh. Oh, they're so hilarious. I know. So funny. I can keep on going, but let's get into the nitty gritty.
Let's do
So my
that.
second to last question of the icebreakers. You're having a dinner party. Who's coming over and why?
I'm having a dinner party. Who is coming over and why?
They have to be alive.
They have to be alive.
Yes.
This is an interesting one because, two people come to mind immediately. The first one is Barack Obama.
Okay.
Just because, he's absolutely inspirational. And I think the authenticity. So for me, he's not perfect in any way. Nobody is.
Yeah.
But there's this sense of seeing their honesty about the impact of pursuing their dream had on their family, their marriage, the fact that it's still standing,
Yeah.
right? And then just how do you raise kids in such a public way, and then you're no longer president, but your kids are still
In the spotlight.
and anything they do. And I was on my
monitored.
phone the other day, and it was something about, I think it was Sasha or one of, and I was just like,
Yeah.
this is tough
And it's for life.
for the rest of your life. And he's just super cool.
Yeah. He just seems like such a chill guy.
You know what I
you can
mean?
play basketball with and have deep conversations with at the same time.
Absolutely. Can I do a second?
Of course.
A second.
It's your party.
It's my
So,
party.
yeah.
So a second would be you can guess who.
Yes, I
Who's
can.
that?
Nathaniel Bassi.
Absolutely. I'm going to have Pastor Nathaniel Bassi over. And I think for me, it is for someone to have such reach, in terms of impacting the world. I mean, he does a YouTube live and then 100,000 people are on their live. He set the Instagram record at the time when he started his challenge, and I think there was one of the major news outlets reached out to want to interview or ask questions, and at that time anyway, I'm not saying that's all the time, but at that time he wasn't necessarily interested.
Yes.
And so it just shows that when you are motivated and you're doing something not for the fame or the money or
Your own personal ambitions.
or your personal, something else drives you, and just trying to get into his head will be, and likewise his marriage stands strong, right? He's in such high demand. I think he has 2 kids, right? Yes. So it'll be those 2.
Party.
Yeah. So hint, Barack Obama,
If you're
Pastor
listening.
Nathaniel, please, or President Obama, I should say. A call would be nice.
All right, fantastic. Thank you. So we're going to get into our questions now. So, we're just going to discuss, talk. So your podcast is about raising leaders, specifically whole leaders. what is a whole leader, and have you cracked the code?
I'm cracking the code.
Okay. In process.
I'm in process. I think it would be foolhardy to kind of say you've cracked the code.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because I think it is, life is progressive. And you might have done X well up until now, but I haven't been through some challenges. I just had a baby. I've not raised a teenager yet. So let's see if I'm going to be fully whole by the time teenage years come around, because I hear that
that's a different
it's
ball
a different
game.
ball game altogether. So I think I'm cracking the code. I think whole leadership for me is being successful, whatever you define as success, right? I think that's a very important. Increasingly, I find that as leaders, we should not impose our definition of success on people. So whatever you define as success to you, but I think for me, it's being successful, let's say publicly, without sacrificing your private life. And I think that balance is one that we need to hold very delicately.
Yeah.
And that's what whole leadership for me is.
That's really good. And I think I want to touch on what you said about success and like your own definition, because I feel like as many people, we all have like our benchmark of what success is and the certain age that we want to achieve this things on our list.
Yes.
So can you talk about what making it looks like? Because you did mention how you had in your book, Count the Cost.
Yes, my book, Count the Cost. Yes.
You talked
I
about.
don't talk about my book a lot.
You need to.
I need to talk about it a lot more.
You need to plug it.
Indeed, I hear
it will be in the link below.
It will be in the link below, exactly.
Yeah, so you mentioned how you had an idea of making it by 35. That was your benchmark.
Absolutely.
But of course, by then it looked different to what you expected.
It looked very, very different.
So can you tell us what was your ideal success by 35? Yeah.
Yes. So at the time, I remember, even till now, one of my mentors makes fun of me. Because I think I had painted this picture of by 35, the amount of money I would have.
Wait, why 35?
I don't know. I honestly don't know where 35 came, but 40 just seemed fun.
35 still seemed like a good middle.
35 just seemed like, okay, it's before 40 and it's,
you're still young, you're still,
it just seemed like that's what you need to be doing. And I painted this picture of success in terms of money, in terms of the cars you would drive, in terms of the amount of influence, the amount of fame. Because influence and fame are two different things. To one extent, you can be famous and not particularly influential.
Sure.
Right, and you can be very influential and nobody knows you.
Exactly.
You know
oh my
I mean?
gosh, yes.
Right. There's actually that. There's a documentary I watched on Netflix about, it was a black man who was instrumental in that was the music industry and making people, but nobody until they did the documentary, nobody had a clue that all these names that we celebrate,
it was because of him.
It was behind a number of these names. So there's that, and I remember speaking to a mentor of mine at the time, and he explained that you can get to this point, but when you get there, whether or not you will still be married and have the health, to
enjoy these
things is in question.
Wow.
That was what Made by 35 was for me, and that was that's also why I burnt out, because I was very much
driven by this idea,
by this elusive goal that nobody gave me.
Honestly,
my father didn't give it to me, my mother didn't give it to me, my wife didn't give
nobody.
It to me. I just put something on myself and I started to go for it.
Wow.
And so I think that's what it was for me. This all this external trappings, and then I had to redefine that. So what I wrote in the book was the definition I had, and I was flying to Singapore to do work. I was doing and do work I love, and so I was flying. I was writing this chapter of the book. I was reflecting on my marriage. It was strong. We're having the issue with not having children, so infertility, but our marriage was strong. My health was good. Mentally, I was sharp. My sense of self-worth, confidence, self-esteem was not dependent on anything, no title, or achieving another target. There was a life of purpose. Till now, I oversee a ministry of young adults. We call them vipers, right?
Boop, boop.
And so in all of that, I just realized, and the thought that came to me, being Christian, obviously you have a relationship with God, and the thought that came to me was, a foundation has been laid, and now the building can be built.
Wow.
And I was just about to turn 35. You know what I mean? So I was like, I made it.
Yes, yeah, this is what it means.
I don't have as much money as I would have wanted to have or anything, but I've made it. Like I've made it. I'm not in debt, you know, where to buy expensive things. I have money in my pocket. I can buy most of what I want. You know what I mean? So that was kind of like the change that happened for me. And I think that unfortunately, I coach people all the time, and Shenemi, you will see, I have some 50-year-olds, 60, who are still chasing this elusive vision.
Wow.
Because it's elusive, where, you know, how much money is enough? Let's say you set 10 million and now you've made 10.
You would always want more.
You know, it's now 20 because greed is insatiable.
It's true. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
You can never actually be satisfied.
You can never actually.
There will always be more.
There would always be more. You know, so money is not is not what should make you. And you see people being depressed because they did a reorg and their title has changed. They don't seem to have as much power and the self-esteem is dropping. Really?
Yeah.
You know, like, whoa, this is a shame. And so it seemed like a little thing, but a lot of being a coach, a lot of people that and even a pastor, a lot of people that I would counsel or speak with are these personal issues that haven't been dealt with.
So that's interesting, though, because from what you're saying, which makes perfect sense, but why does this seem like being happy and being fulfilled and doing what you love is mutually exclusive from also having the things that you want at a particular age? Like, why can't we have both the money and the success and the happiness and the joy and the healthy family and the good health as well? Like, why does it seem like we have to choose?
I love it. I you know, interestingly enough, I was coaching a female leader who had just she kind of just had children, and she was explaining her version of made by 35. Yeah, it wasn't put in an age form, but she was explaining this really amazing vision of what she wanted her private life to be like, and then the kind of the role she wanted and what she would do in the boardroom. And I was like,
whoa,
I am like, I want to. This is so
I want to work with you.
I want to work with you. And I made a statement I'd never made before up until that point. And I said, you can have everything in life that you want, not just at the same time.
That's a hard pill to swallow.
Yes, and eventually it might be that at the particular age, right, you have everything seemingly at the same time, but it's taking some time to get there. You know what I mean? And I think that's that. So you can have both, but most times when you are, I've seen. So I'll give you a good example. I have one of my brothers, friend, but a brother-in-law, really, actually. And they give an example of when he was, one of the reasons that he has so much confidence and feels so loved was he was going through exams. I think it was GCSE, so one of those exams. And his dad, who is, you know, quite successful, an entrepreneur, working hard, running a business, started to come home early, like leave work early, come home early to tutor his son. That's a person that has perspective on what's important.
Yeah.
Now, will the business likely take a hit as a result of that? Yes. So I think so there's an element of really defining, you know,
what's most important
first
to
things.
you.
First things first, right? What is most important, and then beginning to live your life along those lines, you know. And then what happens when you've achieved it all, or you've made a lot of money, and then you fail? You lose it all. You know what I mean?
Because it can, the same way it's come, it can go.
It can absolutely go, and we can see many examples. Simon, is it Cowell, the British Got Talent, and then the X Factor? You know, at some point was relatively successful and lost it all, and moved in back with his mom. You know what I mean? And then made his
Talk
comeback.
about starting over again.
We celebrate him.
Yeah.
So was he not no longer successful when he was back in his mom's place? No, he has tried. It didn't work out, and he's going back to re-strategize and come back. He is more successful in my eyes in his mother's house than the person who never tried.
Wow.
You know, than the person who settled, the person who never, gave it a go.
Yeah.
You know, so I think that's the way I'll put that.
That's so interesting. And what you're saying, it sounds like it's more about the person that we become, right?
It's who you are becoming.
So the reward is in the journey and not the destination.
Absolutely.
How can we wrap our heads around that? Because it just seems like all this striving, like I have a goal I want to get to, like what's the point? Like just get me there.
Yes, I and very much so the reward is very much in the journey. I was having a conversation with my best friend, my brother, and he explained, he's written a book called Joyful, and he explained how the things that genuinely bring us joy are not in the destinations that we're trying to get to.
Yeah.
In his own context, which I think applies to most of us.
Yeah.
He said he just sat down one day and he realized what is bringing me joy is my friends, my wife, my children, my friends, family. He says what gives him the deepest fulfillment is doing something like buying a gift for his nephew, my son, and seeing him smile. That smile is like, or telling somebody you can't afford your school fees, I'll pay it for this term. And those things. And so you begin to see that his motivation to be successful is not about him or a watch or a car or a house. It's deeper. In fact, I find that I think, in my view, the people that are most successful and fulfilled are not. You're not chasing.
You're not striving.
Striving for these things, toiling. Because the truth of the matter is, it's a hard slave master. I've seen it. It's literally, just imagine like a slave master, but you are the one being your own slave master.
Bro.
You are the one being your own slave master, and then you're also the one who, but you say, why am I going through all this? Look in the mirror.
Yeah.
When are you ready to stop?
Wow.
Because the truth of I say that if you're not some people are going through a particularly tough time.
Yeah.
That's the truth, and we accept that. I've been there. So people have gone through some really dark times.
Yeah.
And we're not going to belittle those.
Yeah.
But putting the extremes aside, most times, if we are honest with ourselves, we have enough. You know what I mean? We actually, I say this. I've been saying this regularly this year. I've been saying, if you have food to eat, clothes to wear, and a roof over your head, like what more do you need?
Yeah.
Somebody once asked me, and as in research showed, if you how much do you need to earn to be in the top 1% of earners in the world, not in the country you are, in the entire world? And I was thinking, oh my God, hundreds of thousands, for example. And the research showed no, £30,000.
Excuse me?
£30,000 a year, and you will be in the top
30k pounds.
£30,000, and you will be in the top 1% of earners in the world. That
sounds so ridiculous.
Exactly. So I'm not even sure. I can't remember the question you asked now. I've kind of gone off on the tangent here, but you get my point. You should not be more joyful or joy and contentment and peace. These things that money cannot buy. Are not dependent on how rich you are, how successful you are. You get what I'm saying? It can make you happier. It can make the trip from London to New York better in first class versus economy. Right? So it can make it better. But, So I travel a lot, and because I'm a frequent flyer, I will often get upgraded. And so I was on a business class flight, and then I was on another business class flight, and I got to the counter and they said, "Oh, for the first time you've been upgraded to first class." And I was like, "Oh my God, this is amazing! I need first class." And then 2-3 weeks later, as life just likes to do it, I went on a flight, typical, like I get the usual upgrade, small fee, like it's completely full, so you're gonna be in economy.
Hey.
I loved it. It just helped me rebalance.
Like come back down here.
It helped me rebalance in life. That okay? This is
Well, that shows
It's
how dynamic
interesting.
life is,
This
right?
is
It's like
it.
one day first class, one day economy. Like,
You know?
things can just switch up.
And you know the truth. You know the truth. I enjoyed it. And I'm not saying that to sound good.
Yeah, but you genuinely
I just
did.
vibed with it. Like you
Yeah.
know, I looked in premium economy and saw, okay, this space has 3 seats, but where I am is 4. So clearly something
Perspective.
something is not quite right. But you know,
Yeah.
but I like those things because for me, I think in life you need to learn how to the Bible will say abase and abound.
Yes.
You know,
Wow.
and that's what and that's why I like the experiences I've had in life.
Yeah.
Can I live a good life? Of course.
Absolutely.
But man, can I roll down my sleeves and get dirty? I can. You know what I mean?
Like, if this all went away today, you can rebuild again.
I absolutely, and that's what we talk about who you become.
Yes, exactly.
You know,
Exactly.
and you enjoy the process.
Yeah.
That's the way.
Yeah.
Those are the differences between me now, me then, and some of the people I coach or do life with who I would say have an actual good life.
Yeah. No, that's what you're saying is so powerful because it's something that we all need to remember. Like, it's about who we're becoming, it's about the process, the journey. And it even reminds me what you're saying about how you can get to the destination and you get there and it just feels a bit blur. Like, I don't know if you've ever experienced, maybe there was something you ordered and you were really looking forward to it coming. And when it comes, maybe you even forget to open it or unbox it. It's like, I'll unbox it
But
tomorrow.
it looks like you're speaking to me because this is it. I was in a workshop recently and the lady said whenever she feels stressed, she finds herself, she buys. What she's really looking for is a dopamine.
Yes.
You know,
Yeah.
hers is buying something, somebody else is eating something sweet. It's dopamine. And she goes, once I've bought it, once it comes within 5 minutes, you know, because the heat is gone and the stress has not left. So we need to begin to become very cautious about how we deal with these issues in our life and not use wrong crutches.
Exactly. And it even reminds me of Stephen Bartlett. He shared once about how his life changed because he grew up quite poor. And there was a time where he dropped out of uni. I think he didn't really have much food to eat. He didn't really have money. And he said how, so he would go around shops and he would find like £1 coins and like shares. And like when he finds it, he's so excited because he means he can buy a meal. And he said he can never ever like compare that feeling that he had even to the day that his company sold millions. Like when he had millions in his account, he was like, this is nice, but that feeling he got from finding those £1 coins that bought him his meal, he can never ever like compare anything to it.
That that is stupendously inspiring.
I know, right?
That you see someone like that successful multiple times over. It's not a one-hit wonder.
Exactly.
And then that's where he's starting from. That's really inspiring me. And in the spirit of calling things out, Stephen Bartlett, I would love to interview you.
Yes.
Call us, thank you. So we have 3 now, right?
Yes. We have 3 dinner guests.
3 dinner guests.
But yeah, so thank you for sharing. That's been really like insightful. And even speaking of failures, this might sound like a very different question, but what's a favorite failure of yours?
Favorite failure of mine?
Because you know how we sometimes look at failure as a completely bad thing, but actually it's just learning and pivoting and growing.
I love those 3 things you said, and that's really a perspective to have of failure, right? Learning, pivoting, growing. I think a favorite failure of mine. I think I know the one.
Tell us.
And so this was when I was working in one of the banks, and I was meant to give a presentation. No, I wasn't meant to give a presentation. The team needed to give a presentation, right? There are going to be guests from outside and then senior people in the bank. And so here I am, sort of sitting, pushing, trying to be the one because I wanted to be in front. The reason for wanting to do it was to be seen, to position myself. I was so focused on positioning myself and being seen that I didn't actually prepare. I prepared, but not as I should have.
That's a word in itself.
Yeah, not as I should have. And so here I am. I start giving the presentation. The room is cool and nice. I break out in a cold sweat. Like I mean cold sweat. I'm looking at the notes in front of me. They are blurry. I'm shifting them around. It was dismal. was a dismal presentation. It was really bad. And you could see the faces of people. You could see the director of the team just looked as if, man, I don't know what to say. to make it worse, one of my colleagues walked up to me at the end of it and said, "You're finished here."
My goodness.
And so, yes, what do I do now? I fly around the world. I speak. I facilitate. I coach. And so I think it's a favorite failure of mine because it did two things for me. One is the quote I like. It says, "Let he that thinks he stands take heed lest he falls." And it's really speaking to being overconfident. And some people are prone to that.
Yeah.
And for me, till today, I prepare.
Over prepare.
So I like it for various reasons. One is the comeback. One is the fact that I didn't let it stop me. I went to go and prepare and all that stuff. But I learned a lot from that. I wanted to do it for selfish reasons. I didn't prepare a lot because I was overconfident. And some would even say, arrogant at the time. So I think that would be a favorite failure.
That's good. And I think it shows that failure or failing at something isn't necessary. And it doesn't mean that you are a failure. It just means you just did poorly at that particular thing.
If people can fully get that revelation, that failure is an event. So there's the event of failure and there's you here. The world
Two
will be
separate things.
I'm not even sure because I might get less business. Part of my I have to be generous to the people. So yes, I think that's an important thing. Failure is very much an event.
I agree.
Yes.
That's something I'm learning because I always associated failure with my person. So it's like, I didn't fail at this, you're a failure.
This is
like,
it.
that's not a good mindset to have.
In fact, I have I sleep, it comes off me.
Wow.
I sit down, I assess it, right? Because what we don't want is repeat failure.
Yes, exactly.
Where it can be avoided.
Exactly.
Sometimes it cannot.
Yeah.
But where it can be avoided, sit down, assess, take responsibility for your share.
Yeah.
What could you have done differently, better?
Yeah.
And then take it from there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's very important. Don't fail twice.
If not necessary.
If not necessary, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yes.
And it's good. I think it keeps us humble as well. It reminds us that we don't know everything.
Yes.
And we can't do everything on our own.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
You have 15 plus years of coaching.
Yes.
What would you say is something that you've really learned about people? And what do you find is the common denominator amongst people or similarities?
So I will answer this question in two ways.
Okay.
I watched a video recently about Oprah Winfrey, and she said she was speaking to Harvard alumni, giving a keynote, and she said she's done something like 35,000 interviews at the time. I'm pretty sure it wasn't 3,500, but anyway, whichever number is huge, right?
Yeah,
35 or 35, whatever. And she goes, "There's one thing that is common to all the people she's interviewed." She mentioned Barack Obama, President Bush, President Barack Obama. She said Beyonce and all her Beyonce-ness. At the end of the interview, in their own way, they look at her and say, "Was that okay?"
Wow. And these are people that we look at that they know, they have everything figured out.
Absolutely. Imagine Beyonce on stage. Imagine Barack Obama giving the presidential speech. You know what I mean? This is and it's in their own way. They ask a version of, "Was that okay?"
Wow.
And I think that really summarizes something I've seen as a coach.
Yeah.
In that, because people with their coach are they can, once you break through the initial sort of facade, they're quite open and vulnerable. And in everybody is that little child that needs support. In everybody, and I'm saying this very well, but for leaders to say you don't have to be stoic and macho and have it all together.
Yeah.
Your vulnerability lends you to your people as a better.
Yeah.
It connects you more. Vulnerability connects. And the second thing I would say that I think cuts across is people can change. And this is a big one.
That's a big one because there's a school of thought that believes that people cannot change.
This is, or some things cannot change.
Yes,
No,
yeah.
I'm yet to see, except somebody is a narcissist,
Yeah.
which there's a few here and there, you know. Except someone is a narcissist, people can change if they are willing and if they are allowed to.
Talk to us about the being allowed to.
Yes, because perceptions are formed and are lasting. And so if you have a person, and when we say leader, sometimes, you know, let's demystify this leader. They're a person.
Yeah.
That leader that is the CEO or is the managing director, is a husband, is a father, is a son, is a, you know, is a friend, is a daughter, is
They
a
have
wife.
normal everyday lives.
They have everyday life struggles, you know. And so if somebody has had maybe a history of a short temper, and they're now trying to be more patient, trying to change. So they're actually making the effort.
Yeah.
But the people around them are used to short temper. They're used to it.
So it's hard for them to believe that this is even true.
That this is even true. And this cuts across whether it's a leader in a corporate or a husband or a spouse.
Yeah.
Husband or wife with their spouse. It's two things. We need to learn to give grace.
We need to learn to be kinder to each other.
Be kinder to each other and even more so ourselves, right?
Yeah.
There is the comment I agree, which is you can't give what you don't have. Right?
True.
You know, and so I find that if you are humble enough to say, I'm trying to change this, and the people around you begin to support you, they begin to look for the wins.
Yeah.
So when you do what you say you're trying to change, even in a small way, it's kind of like, come on.
Yes.
Look, well, I'm just waiting for my son to start walking now because he's already standing and he's making some strides. He's trying to make some strides.
He's getting ready.
And you know, if he takes a step and falls, I'm not going to go, like, come on, you can do it.
Yeah.
I'm going to clap and shout and jump. We are just bigger babies.
Yeah. We are just bigger babies.
Yeah. So when we do something that is not normal and we do it, there needs to be that, well done, pat on the back. Like, oh yeah, you know, you did that. You know, I've coached people who, when I say, like, why are you so hard? And it's like, see what you've achieved and see how you did that well.
Yeah.
It's because they grew up in a household where a father or a mother, you never did enough.
Yeah.
Until today, some
There's
people,
the
spouses are gone, no, the parents are gone, but they're still
that voice is still there.
They're still trying to impress.
Yeah.
You know, and it's sad. You know, so we need to give people grace and encourage them and help them change.
I agree. Wow, we're just bigger babies. I'm not calling myself an adult anymore. I'm a bigger baby. Bigger baby. Wow. Wow, thank you so much. This has been fantastic. We can go on and on. Like,
yes.
There's so much more. We can talk for hours. So
we're going to pause here.
Yeah.
I'm going to throw a question to you as we wrap it up.
Okay.
So from our conversation today, what has struck you the most?
What has struck me the most is that people can change. Because I think I'm taking that advice for myself. Because, you know, sometimes when you are used to a certain pattern or even just a certain way of thinking, you think, would I ever come out of this mindset? Would I ever change this way of thought? Would I ever change these patterns that I've grown accustomed to? So it's like, no, actually, I can change. I don't need to be the person that I was a year ago.
Absolutely.
I can be a different person, and that's okay.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so that really struck me.
That struck you?
I can change.
Yes.
And I'm just a bigger baby.
I mean, like, I love how, you know, you're the man and your husband and your father and you lead all these teams. And when you see me with my mom, no one is gonna see that. Like, no, I don't want that perception to change. Like, what is that? The coach, the lead? No. Let's keep it. Just don't come to my house.
Yes.
Back in Nigeria, leave me and my mom alone. Let me do what I do.
Yeah.
No. So thank you. Yeah. This has been amazing.
This has been so much fun.
I think we're going to do this again with your permission.
Call me. I'm available.
You're available. Yeah. We might even go deeper into how people change.
Yes, exactly.
You know, so people can change and how people change.
Yes.
So thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. And I want to say, if this has been helpful to you, please pay it forward. Share it. Make sure you like and comment on the page, subscribe to the page, and we'll be looking forward to seeing you at the next episode. Until then, stay blessed.